Welcome to our video on April 16th, and I will now open the circle in our good and sacred way. Waboon, Eagle, Spirit Keeper of the East, we call you into this circle, bringing the energies of morning, of birth, of new beginnings. We call Beaver, Spirit Helper of the Southeast, bring the strength and solidity of home and family, and the admirable trait of dogged determination without complaint. Shamadeus, a Coyote Trickster, Spirit Keeper of the South, we call you into this circle, bringing the warmth of the noonday sun, the energies of the growing season and the young adult years. We call Crow, Spirit Helper of the Southwest. Bring the magic and healing of the shaman into this circle. Mujikewis, Grizzly Bear, Spirit Keeper of the West. We call you into this circle, bringing the abundance of harvest, the evening time, the wisdom of the mature adult years. We call Snake, Spirit Helper of the Northwest. As the snake bites its own tail and completes the circle, so the union of male and female energies completes the circle. Waboos, Great White Buffalo, Spirit Keeper of the North, we call you into this circle from the dream time, the snows of winter. We call Otter, Spirit Helper of the Northeast. With its ease of movement between water and land, may we also experience that same ease of movement as we transcend from the end of each cycle in the north to the beginning of each new cycle in the east. Grandfather Sun, Grandmother Moon, Father Sky, Turtle Mother Earth, all our relations, our brothers and sisters, the two-leggeds, the four-leggeds, the crawlers, the swimmers, the flyers, the plant people, the standing people, the stone people, the sky people. We invite our ancestors, we invite the Creator. Mire Dantwe and Amikamos, Mire Dantwe and Okamus, Chimiwich, Yahweh. Circle is open.
So here we are, it's Thursday, April the 16th, and we are just entered into the fourth quarter of the fourth moon cycle of Looks for a Woman. And as I spoke about her in our last video, she is the one who is the seer, the one who looks to the future with the perspective of manifesting what it is we want to create. So if I look at the medicine wheel, we are right here at this point, just before the fifth moon cycle. So while I could talk about the fifth moon cycle, I think it's a little bit premature. The fifth moon cycle for this year starts on April 22nd. And in terms of indigenous culture, we work on 13 moon cycles in a year. It's not the same as solar zodiac, which is 12 divisions of the year. And we certainly don't go from the beginning of the month to the end of the month. It's based actually on new moons, starting whenever that happens in a given year. That's when we calculate. So I create documentation, and there are lots of resources to give you the accurate and exact new moon date and time. So, as I mentioned, we entered into the fourth quarter on the 14th, 2 days ago. And what does that mean? It means we are moving into the darkness. We're losing the little sliver of the moon, and we're coming into the darkness of the next new moon on April 22nd. If we were referring to this as a gardening class, we would talk about what activities one goes about doing for their garden. We're doing spiritual gardening, not physical gardening. It's a little early in the season to consider planting. But if we were gardening, the fourth quarter of any moon cycle, any time of the year, is not about planting anything. It's about deadheading flowers and bushes and removing stumps and anything that gets rid of that which we no longer want in our garden. It's about the pruning and cleaning up. So we are asked at a spiritual level to look at this fourth quarter of this fourth moon cycle of Looks Far Woman, to clean up the attitudes and visions and worries and automatic responses we have at this time, particularly with the COVID-19 pandemic that is a global phenomenon. Being asked now for at least a month to stay in and stay isolated, and it's much more than social distancing at this point. We are expected collectively to do that which is in the greater good for humanity, and we all know that. But we're also expected in this fourth quarter to clean up, to purge, to get rid of fear and replace our automatic response to the stress you may be feeling. We're asked to vision, to utilize the strengths of Look Far Woman, to vision what we want for the world. Because what we think, what we believe, what we put our attention on, we manifest. And I think it's incredibly important time. It's like the fulcrum. It's the point where we're going to tip that teeter-totter one way or the other, so to speak. Flattening the curve is one way of talking about the way the fulcrum has to shift, and it is a collective endeavor. So what is this world that we want when we move into the next full moon cycle on the 22nd? Well, it's interesting because that grandmother is listening woman, and she's an incredibly beautiful and important grandmother. She is the mother of the Tayoe, the stillness. She is the mother of inner knowing, the keeper of discernment and the guardian of introspection, the interpreter of messages from the spirit world, the counselor and advisor, the keeper of hearing. She teaches us how to enter the stillness and hear our heart's small, still voice within. She teaches us how to find and understand the inner knowing we carry in our spiritual essences, how to listen to the viewpoints and opinions of others and the voices of the ancestors, how to understand body language and unspoken thoughts, and hearing with our heart. She teaches us basically how to hear the truth. So in this time of isolation and physical distancing, entering her space on the 22nd, we are entering the moon cycle. Is called Strawberries Ripen in historical context. Hawk and thunderbird are Dotem and clan animals associated with this time. And they are about, and we have obviously moved into the east at this point with the 5th moon cycle. So we're talking about eagle. So these are bird clan animals, and they are the ones that fly closest to the Creator, and the ones that have the greatest clarity because they are up above. They take the highest perspective. We're asked in this time of stillness to begin to listen to our hearts and what it is we want, not just for ourselves, but because we're in this pandemic together, collectively. What do we want to manifest for the earth? What do we want to manifest for our families, our communities, the economy, the governmental structure? Everything has an opportunity to change. So by stopping the whirling, strangely fearful, stressful, fear-based thinking, getting that out, purging that in this 4th quarter, we have an opportunity to enter the next new moon from a place of stillness and peacefulness. So it's an encouraging time right now. It's a critical time. And the more I talked with Brian about preparing for this, the greater the push from Spirit I had to speak to these issues and what power we as individuals, still functioning collectively because our thoughts are not bound by the walls that we reside in, we have the opportunity to collectively come to a place of peace and excitement. It's like waiting for a baby to be born. We're gestating this baby. We are pregnant, poignant with pregnancy as a human race. So as I have been doing in this series of wisdom talks, I pulled the cards ahead of time. And part of that is because with rheumatoid arthritis, I'm rather clumsy at that. And that's just part of my human walk. But I pulled the cards and I based them again, as I did in the very first video, on Jamie Sams and David Carson's sacred journeys and medicine animals, the Dotem cards. And I also, I haven't picked the Dotem cards. I will pick the Dotems. And I also have once again pulled a central card from Judith Pintar's work. So, in the position, and by the way, when I teach these classes, I actually have a card spread layout sheet, which I provide in the classes that's based on the medicine wheel. The very first card I got for the east position here is Whirling Rainbow. Whirling Rainbow is an interesting southwestern entity that when they dance, they spin in their regalia so quickly that all the colors fly around the earth. And the message of Whirling Rainbow for this time we are in is unity and wholeness. Wholeness being achieved collectively if we utilize our minds in a good and sacred way. And if we walk our talk. We can't physically be together, but collectively we can pool our thoughts and voices. So in the south part of the wheel, I pulled the card East Shield. If we utilize this grandmother, the coming grandmother, correctly, we will achieve illumination and clarity, both individually and collectively. The card for the West is speaking of the time when we can get together again, and that part of the sacred path is called powwow, sharing, and the quickening, and the energy of once again physically being able to come together. I'm not suggesting that it will not happen until after autumn equinox. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that by that time we will be collectively working through how we make this a better, more sustainable economy, better, more sustainable governments, and so on, society as a whole. And finally, in the north position, it's self-sacrifice. Self-sacrifice is something that we are doing when we resist the temptation to get together with people. We're still expected to do that. In this time frame, in this month, all these attributes apply. So we are working towards unity and wholeness and achieving it by working as a global community on our isolation, creatively bringing about illumination and clarity, looking toward the time when we can share and gather and eat and be joyful, and recognizing that it's requiring, all of this is, the foundation for this is the self-sacrifice. The card that represents the self is a west position card. It's a hand squeezing, and this card would be in the middle of the wheel. A hand squeezing a cloud, trying to make rain. It's in the west position normally on the wheel, and it's called stillness. And it's saying that the Creator is asking us to remain in stillness and relinquish our control. We have no control directly over the physical pandemic. What we have control of are our thoughts and what we are creating, what we are manifesting in this fourth quarter of Looks for a Woman. This is a very powerful time, and there are so many aspects of this great medicine wheel that we walk, and much of our teaching concerns this. But all we have to manage right now is this week, moving into the time of April 22nd, so in 6 days, when this new grandmother, listening woman, comes our way.